Hi, we've had a great week too. I really enjoyed all of your comments about Enron. You know, Enron has really become kind of the classic bad boy, worst case scenario for a CEO and for a company in terms of its ethical culture, or in the case of Enron, you might say it's unethical culture. So I noticed that the participants were about half and half in terms of, okay, this is Ken Lay's responsibility. He should have been able to right the ship. And other people do recognize that when you have 30,000 employees scattered around the world, a CEO can only do so much. But I want to agree with everyone who said it's all about tone at the top. Yes, the CEO has the power to put the right people in place to develop a strong ethics program and, of course, have good compliance and internal controls. So Ken Lay told me personally that he had very bad internal controls and that he takes full responsibility. But on the other hand, if he says he didn't know that he had bad internal controls, but wouldn't you think a CEO should think about that, the type of internal controls? Unfortunately, if we go back to 2002, we weren't having as many of the type of crises in the ethics area that we're having today. So what happened was that they took their eye off the ball in terms of ethics, and it was all about the bottom line. And I think, and according to Andy Fausto, now that he's out of prison, he says things are 10 times worse now than they were during the times of Enron, because we see all the financial institutions that have a crisis, it seems like every week when you read the Wall Street Journal. So many people in business are only thinking about compartmentalizing their own little job. And that may be a big job and a lot of responsibility. So again, I hope you can go forward now and recognize that we're in pretty much agreement that the CEO is very, very important. I don't think you can build an ethics program from the bottom up. You've got to have top support. Top managers have too much control and power over subordinates and what happens in the organization. By the way, I would like to tell you that this week we're going to be at the Ethics and Compliance Officer Association, and we have 2 members of our group that's going to be there also. Sharon Kleinbelt from the University of Northern Colorado is going to be with us. And we also have Chris Becker, who is teaching business ethics at Colorado State University. He's going to be joining us at this meeting. And let me tell you about ECOA. It is the premier ethics and compliance organization. And what you see there, it's mainly 800 to 1,000 ethics officers from different companies. You see how business ethics is being implemented in organizations. And sometimes that's quite different than what's taught in the classroom. Sometimes we teach the classroom that maybe you need to develop your own personal viewpoint on ethics, and you go into an organization and you define the issue and look at the alternatives and apply your personal moral perspective to it. It's very difficult for an individual to control a large organization, and as back to Bernie Rosenberg's idea that ethics is kind of a team sport where everyone gets involved. Unfortunately, at the Ethics and Compliance Officers Association, it's very often a lot of focus on compliance and regulation, but also values and the principles are also discussed. But I think you'll find in this country that you'll get many more companies that are focusing on compliance more than values and ethics, but we hope it's moving in an opposite direction, where we could turn it around to ethics and values are more important and compliance is our safety net. We'll all be back next week talking about some things we've learned, and we're going to develop some PowerPoint programs and other things about new developments in the area of corporate ethics. So we look forward to seeing you next week.